Bam, 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 bam. We're going to corn tonight. I'm going to corn, and there is like a dog. We started a half hour later than what we said.
I can't get anywhere on time because I have ADHD.
Are you medicated?
No, because I get addicted.
I know that shit fucking rules.
It's the best, and you don't need to eat food.
I didn't realize how much I loved Adderall until 20 years after being off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, man, I drink a lot of caffeine, and it's all literally just to get that one morsel of Adderall fixins.
Totally. And Adderall, the problem with Adderall is you get the rage. Like, I can watch my friends get off Adderall. Like, I can watch their Adderall wear off and they become cunts.
Really?
Yeah, you just get cunty as it loses its edge. Like, you'll be really like on top of it. It's like Coke. You know, when Coke, when it wears off and you're just like, all right, what are we even doing at this bar? why are we here?
Why are we still freestyling? Can we go?
Yeah. I mean, Adderall, you can't just like do a bump and then get back up. You have to just wait until the next day.
I think the last time I did Adderall was at a friend's wedding. Actually, it was at Jeremiah, the producer of this podcast, who's in Ibiza. It was at his wedding. One of the girls that was there, this is like 2009, gave me an Adderall pill because I quit drinking and then I started drinking just for the wedding. You know, like with all my friends. Why not a great place to go back to drinking around all of your loved ones? I
always do that. I always do the wedding thing where I'm like, this is a good place to do it. Or I'll do it in another country and then I'll be in another country scared and drunk.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, well, I'm here, so I might as well drink. And then I'm like, I don't know how to get home. I don't know where I am.
I want to go to Thailand because I know they give you like somebody told me they give you this giant bag of like Red Bull and like some like gasoline, basically. Yeah. But it's like, and I do miss it. I do.
You don't drink at all.
I haven't drank in 18 years. That's not true. I haven't drank. I always say I haven't drank in 18 years, but I haven't drank regularly in 18 years. I used to have these days where I would just go to Venice and do a bunch of coke and drink with my buddy, but I would stay away from comedy, and then I would do that for 2 days, and then finally pass out, and then I'd go home and like be sick for 3 days, and then be like, I'm not doing that again until a year later, until something else happened in my career that I wasn't happy about.
Wow, and now you don't do that.
I don't. Yeah, I just,
when have you stopped doing that?
2014.
Okay, so you've been dry since 2014, totally
yes.
dry.
Well,
but you still do weed.
Weed and psychedelics.
Me too. I mean, yeah, same.
Yeah,
alcohol's gay.
It's so gay.
It really sucks. It doesn't do anything good. Besides allow you to date. Dating is easier when you're drinking.
Sure. You know what's funny is like I just went on a date and the girl I'll buy her as much alcohol as she wants. I mean, within reason. Hopefully she doesn't go fucking crazy.
Right.
You mean let's cut that part out. No, but this thing is like I don't need the alcohol to be loose, and that is what keeps me off of it. That's what keeps me off of any real drug is that like.
Yeah, but it sucks hanging out with drunk people.
But I don't hang out with drunk people.
But she gets a little drunk and like, and then you're just like, all right.
That's true.
That sucks.
That's true.
I won't ever date somebody who's not sober ever again.
Really?
It makes me slide back into it. Yeah. If they're drinking, even when I see my friends having like a nice beer on a hot day, I'm like, but if I'm dating somebody and they're doing it, yeah, I slide right back in every time.
All right. There's a guy now upset we're not talking about Green Day Dookie. This is, I'm so happy that you're the guest on this one.
Dude, you know what's fucked up about this album is it's like exactly what I'm going through right now with the breakup.
You're a burnout, living in a bad section of town, masturbating every day, all the time, and
it's that,
kind of going crazy.
It's that, but it's also like the ones that he have that are about
she.
Not just she, but I have to have the names. Sassafras Roots and
I love that name.
Not All By Myself. FOD.
Yeah.
Dude, I just went through, like, if you follow it, it's like, for the long view is him being like, I fucking suck and I'm a burnout. What am I doing? And then he's like, I'm going to make some of myself, does Welcome to Paradise. And he's like, this is also fucked up, but I'm doing it. But then the best song, I think it's Pulling Teeth, where it's the.
Yes. On the way, I'm not even.
What I'm talking about? Oh yeah. Is she ultraviolet or is she disturbed? And then it's like, she's the thing killing me. the whole narrative of like falling in love with somebody and having them be the worst thing for you and not being able to deal with it. And then by the end of the album, he's like, I hope you fuck off and die. And then the last song is like, but now I'm alone, which is like totally how it goes. You do that all the time where you're like, I'm going to go do comedy and it's going to be huge. You move to New York. Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and it feels awful and you miss your mom and then you fall in love with somebody. They ruin your life. And then you're like, fuck that person. And then you're like, but I miss that person. And then the cycle
starts over again. So before we get into like the in-depth and how we match this to your life, like, wait, where are you from? That's the first thing. You're from Ithaca. Yeah, you told me that. You're from Ithaca. You're from upstate. And I know you're young. You're in your 33. Okay. So where were you when this record came out? Do you remember when this record dropped? This is 1990. Our record today is Dookie by Green Day, released in February of 1994.
I was 3.
3?
3 years old.
You weren't listening to music at 3?
I was listening to Bruce Springsteen. No, I was an American Idiot kid. I lost my virginity looking at Billy Joel in American Idiot. I had spray painted all of the heart grenades. I had everywhere, you know what I mean? I was like an American Idiot kid. And then later in life, I went
back to this one.
I just was like, I love Green Day, but American Idiot brings me right back to being a mall goth. So I need to, and then I found this album and I was like, oh yeah, this is like far superior.
So how old were you when American Idiot got into your life?
I must have been 13, right?
Yeah.
13. I had every square inch covered in posters in my room. I had flame curtains in my windows. Clear shower curtains with flames on them that I put in my windows so that I could look out and people would think I was burning to death.
Yeah.
They did not look like that, but that was my plan. I had like everything I was obsessed with Billy Joel. I was obsessed with Trey Cool. I was obsessed with Billy Joel. My best friend was Trey Cool. Like we would pretend that they were our boyfriends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'd be like, that's our favorite one. What's the other guy's name?
Mike Dirnt.
Yeah, and Mike Dirnt was just our imaginary friend.
Yeah. Trey Cool is very cool.
Yeah.
What a great name. And he's also the nicest guy ever.
Oh yeah.
I've met 2 of the members. I haven't met Billy Joe, but I've met Trey and I met Mike. All I think through Brad Williams.
What?
The little person comedian.
Billy Joel is like Billy Joe is like, I keep saying Billy Joel.
I know you do. I didn't want to correct you, but I was like, we can talk Billy Joel.
It's so funny because I've been talking about Billy Joel so much lately.
Billy Joel.
Because I don't actually like Billy Joel. I know. I like find him fine, but I've been talking about how he's overrated. I like Spoons, which sounds like Billy Joel. But Billy Joe, that's crazy. Billy Joe.
Wait, you like the band Spoon?
Yeah.
You think that?
Is it Spoon or Spoons?
Spoon from Austin, Texas. You think Spoon sounds like Billy Joel?
Yeah. Want to hear?
I mean,
listen to the song Underdog.
Underdog?
It's a better Billy Joel.
Let's find it.
It's a hot take.
I'm in. All right. So wait, so you're 13 years old. Who turned you on to Green Day? Was it just American Idiot was just out there?
It was out there. Yeah, I mean, it was probably. Well, what's the what album is the Novocaine song on?
I think that's the one after this one. So
yeah, so that album
is where you got into.
I got turned on to by my at the time best friend's older sister, who was like a super punk, and she made me all these mixtapes, and then that got me into American Idiot. Yeah,
the record I think you're talking about, what is it, Novocaine?
Yeah.
Is that off of Insomniac? No, it's not. This record, like, at the time when this came out, I mean, this is like, I don't think I really got into it until like later after it had been released, when a few of the singles had come out. But I was like, freshman in high school in a band with Tassos, Ben, Dave Cullen. And this, like, 2 of the songs on this album were 2 songs that we covered. And it was like, this wasn't the music that I was listening to. This was actually the exact opposite of what I think was popular in 1994 when this came out.
Really?
Well, you're thinking like Pearl Jam, Nirvana. This is like rock and roll grunge. And then you have punk.
Yeah.
Like come out of nowhere, and not only come out of nowhere, I think like really like kind of take over, almost push down grunge a little bit and kind of expand and just become, you know, like this album and this band basically started the next 10 years of the direction of music that it was going, like with like, this is like the, you know, precursor to like Good Charlotte and Sum 41 and all of those bands. I mean, I think it's funny is like researching this album became much more obvious to me that I was like just how important this one is. Whereas like the album that you like, American Idiot, which is great, is like, it's kind of like them, like, you know, they were on the downswing when that came out, and then that album kind of like restarted their careers almost. This album like basically is a band going from being completely independent to almost what people are saying is selling out.
Really?
Do you think it's selling out to like sign with, because this is what it is. Basically,
Leica hiding her face like this is the cutest thing ever.
Oh, she loves it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. That's why you got to have her around all the time.
Crazy.
So the band basically has they're together. They come out with Kerplunk. They're on this very minor label, but that album starts selling like, I think in like the first day it sells 10,000 copies, which is more than most of the albums on that label. And so the band's touring, and they decide it's like if they want their music to get out there, they have to sign with a major label.
Yeah.
So they do this, and basically, I mean, this went 10 times platinum. You know, basically taking them from a virtually unknown band to one of the most important pop punk bands in music, and I think like changing music. Basically, you know, like it was like
it mainstreamed pop punk, you think, or it just changed?
No, I think it mainstream pop punk. I mean, punk to me, like from doing this podcast, Jordan, like, do you listen to punk at all? Or because like Ian, like your podcast goes, and our friend Ian, like he loves like every facet of punk.
Yes.
But when I asked him about this record, he was like, yeah, he's not a fan of it.
No way.
I swear to God. I asked him before I asked you, because I was like, because I knew he loved punk. And it was like, oh, this would be a perfect album for him.
This is the type of punk I do. I mean, this is like what got me into punk. So I was like the slow burn. I was like the most classic girl version. So it was like American Idiot, Sum 41, like fucking, you know, as gay as like American Hi-Fi getting in there, as gnarly as like, you know, then like, oh, maybe like Rammstein slipping in there in a weird way.
Yeah.
Rancid sliding in there, right? And then it was like, and then it went to Misfits, right? So I went about it like, and then it went Misfits, and then it went to hardcore. You know what I mean? So I got gnarlier. So this was like,
you needed this. This is like you easing into the bathtub a little bit. Yeah. I think this is most people finding out about punk. To listen to this, and then if you were 13 and somebody played Bad Brains for you, you know, you would have, or even Misfits. Well, Misfits, see, that's the thing, is that Misfits it's a
horror rock,
but it's a dirtier, it's still like
clean.
Like, it's still, dude, this is pop music. When you take away everything, and you take away the green hair and the fucking, you know, the punk outfits and that, like, basically what the image of punk rock is. Dude, you mentioned that song Pulling Teeth. That is a perfectly written pop song. It's like Nirvana about a girl, where it's 3 chords, and it just, if you would have taken that song, taken away the distortion, and put that in like 1965, that's the Beatles.
I mean, even any hardcore I listen to or punk I listen to has to have a little bit of the, like, even like A Day to Remember, where there's a little bit of the emo, chorusy singing poppy aspect of it. I like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like I love Bad Brains, but I have to be in a very specific mood. I can listen to this entire album and be so happy. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's like Candy more so, where the other one is like, you have to be, it's like, which is, you know, that's like my entire childhood was being called a poser, because I was wanting to be punk so bad. But like, this is all, you know what I mean? This was like my extent was like going to Bowling for Soup and stuff. You know what I mean?
So would you call this, like, do you think if you're a punk fan, you're allowed to say that you like Green Day Dookie and you like American Idiot? If you're like a punk fan, you're talking to the guy.
American Idiot's tough, but Yeah, totally. I mean, when you're a little kid, when you're younger and you get into American Idiot and they're just making fun of America, it's like exactly what you want. That's like the age where you're like refusing to say a Pledge of Allegiance and shit. You know what I mean? And you're like sitting out and you're like against religion. But if you're into, I mean, there are kids that I know that were always boys who fucking got into Bad Brains super early, and it was always like, I wish I had this. Like, I wish I had the taste at that age, but at that time I was like, okay, but can you put on the one that I can sing to now?
Yeah.
You know? And I think it's just a lot more fun. I mean, I love punk, but I have to be in a punk mood. And then, but any pop punk, I'm ready for it anytime.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? It's like, I can get into punk by, pop punk can lean me into punk. I can't just go raw. You can't raw dog Black Flag. Yeah, now I can. Now that I've seen the pain and torment of being alive, totally. But as a kid, I was like,
well, do you see you see the pain? No. You see the pain and torment that's in this record. There's a lot of depth to he's literally telling you about what they're going through in their lives. Every song is basically a manifesto to a band trying to make it, a band in their early 20s, teenage coming into 20s angst. Like it's a lot smarter than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like the more I researched it. And then because I think you kind of like you kind of not discredit the band, but you know what Green Day stands for, right?
No.
So Green Day slang in the Bay Area for spending a whole day doing nothing but smoking weed.
Oh.
Yeah. And Armstrong once admitted in 2001 he then considered to be the worst band name in the world. They figured they would change it, but it just kind of stuck. And then, I mean, to name the album Dookie.
Yeah.
Which is basically, where did I find something about that? It's literally, it's about shit. I don't have to hide that. It's about Dookie. But
that makes sense. It makes sense that they're like, what is this about? What should we call the album? And they were just like, this is Dookie, dude.
No, but this was, this is a band that I think when they went from Kerplunk to this, a lot of their fans considered this selling out. Do you consider, because I was talking to Burr about, not to name drop, but I'm going to name drop a little bit. I was talking to Burr about Def Leppard Hysteria. Do you know that record? No. Pour Some Sugar on Me, Animal, Rocket. It's basically the Def Leppard wanted to make a heavy metal thriller. And so they took their sound completely changed and they made this like pop with metal tings, but it's not. It's Metallica doing the Black record. It's finding a bigger audience. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if it's finding a bigger audience. Like unless they say this is us finding a bigger audience. I do think this is like the Turnstile thing, or Turnstile, like, Real Thing is super hard and way more is like way less palatable for a lot of people. Yeah. And then Glow On just like hit. It's like it just hit so many people, and then they could go back. It's almost like it's almost like a late night. It's like, do you think Selling Out is doing late night? Like, you know what I mean? No, it's not selling out. You're like basically being like, here's like a
big shiny toy and you can have it if you just do this thing.
Well, just as like it's like we do late night, you do 5 minutes of your best material that's ready for TV, and then they go, oh, I like Jordan, and then they look up all my stuff about wanting to kill myself and fuck my dad. You know what I mean? Like, and they're like, oh, okay, this lady's crazy, I don't like that. Or they're like, oh, that was a good avenue. Like, I feel
like you've found your fan base. It's really cool to see it because so many women and men see themselves in you. Have you had a moment where you feel like you've sold out at all?
No way.
Not at all. There's nothing you've done in your career. I could say it when I had my TV show. It was like when they offered me a bunch of money and wanted to change the jam, that's me selling out. I mean, it changed my life, kind of like this, and it gave me the opportunity to, continue stand up and doing everything. You don't have a moment where you've even at all you felt like you.
There's no selling out. I mean, how would I sell out if I'm not going to post fucking ads on my Instagram. I'm not going to do, it would be selling out would be like, the worst thing I could do would be like, I can't even imagine. I mean, what would it be? Selling out for me would be. What would it, yeah. It would probably be like.
Being in a Tostitos commercial?
No. That's fine. That's
You'd be
great.
awesome in that. Yeah.
It would be my whole thing is like you should say what you shouldn't say. So it would probably be going on like a super woke agenda TV show and being like, people need to be respectful of everybody and not talk shit. I mean, that would probably be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I started posting Instagram stories being like, don't talk about race, don't talk about this, like just talk about notice observations, don't talk about trans people, don't talk about, you know what I mean? That might be something.
What if the industry, you're getting all this steam and attention towards you. What if like NBC came around and like, we want to make the Jordan Jensen TV show, but we want it to be X, Y, and Z. And you're like, well, I want it this way. But they're like, okay, well, we don't want it that way. So we want it our way. And we'll give you $20 million for the season.
$20 million?
Realistically. I mean, that might be insane. Like, for a first year, it's like, you know what I'm saying? They would give you $100,000 an episode. You're executive producing and starring in it. Would you do it? Oh, look at like off the camera, like a dog.
And we have to and I would have to do what they wanted me to do. Like do a sitcom that is. I mean, it wouldn't be fun. My whole thing is I won't do anything I don't want to do. That's why I can't imagine selling out.
Yeah.
Like the entire, I don't really sacrifice any like moments of the day to something I wouldn't be having fun doing. If I wanted to do it, then I would do it. Like if it sounded fun, but not for money. I've never really done anything for money that I don't really understand. We grew up poor, so I have a tiny amount of money and I'm like, oh, I'm rich. I don't, you know what I mean? Like even when you say $20 million, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. You know what I mean? I don't even know what that means. You could say 2,000. I'd be like, that's a lot, like it's not.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Like selling out would be like, what would be selling out? What's a good example? It would be like if they were like, we will give you a Netflix special, but we want you to take every single video down that you've ever posted about anything edgy. We want you to wear a dress. We want you to put makeup on. Then that would be selling out. If I ever walk on stage in high heels and a dress because somebody told me to, that's selling out for me.
I couldn't imagine that.
I'm extremely, or if like, for instance, I got fake tits, that's selling out. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I would never do that. Or if they were like, we want you to be in an ad for whatever, Botox or something, that's selling out. It's doing something that I would be against.
By the way, as you were saying that, I want to set you up with my buddy Rob in LA, Schaefer's Garment Hotel. He makes a lot of my pants and stuff. Oh, yeah. I think you dig his shit, dude. Yeah. I could see you wearing it, and I could also see, what if Rob goes, all right, I'll give you a full wardrobe, but you have to model it. But it's all like Jason 100%. Momoa clothes.
If I like it, yeah.
It's all, I always like say if you want to dress like a Mumford and Son. Which you're like a cousin of the Mumfords.
Yeah. I'll do anything if I want to do it. I think selling out is doing things you don't want to do. I think it's like I think that's the definition of it. So if they didn't want to do this album, for instance, what Queen, they wanted to have what's the song? What's their giant song, the ballad?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, they wanted that to be the record single or whatever, and they were like kept pushing it. Like I think it's just selling out is when you find yourself doing, I mean, that's why I have trouble with my normal friends who are like, I'm doing a 9 to 5 and I hate it, but at least after work I'm okay. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. You don't be homeless, dude. That's crazy to do something you don't want to do, you know? So it's like, I get that everybody in some way has to. I actually just don't believe that. I don't believe you have to do things you don't want to do. I mean, I guess you have to like not kill people if you want to kill them, but I do think selling out would be like if somebody was like, we want you to do an entire special on something gay, Yeah. On, I don't know, on like dating or something, you know? But yeah. And I think I've always been that way. And I think I was like drawn to this shit because I was always like, I'm against authority and following any rules or anything. But then you listen to punk and it's like, it was just like way like hard punk, and it was just way more. I was like, I don't really know what you're talking about. You're talking about like Rage Against the Machine. What does that even mean? Yeah. And this was like, America sucks. And I was like, I know what that is. This was like definitely my little intro into being like against something bigger than me, because you want to be against something.
Sure. this a lot of this band, I don't know if you know this, came kind of together because of the parents of the band. They were super supportive of these guys. They saw them playing in like their living room, and kind of like Trey Cool's father basically overhauled a bookmobile to transport the band. He would say, I watched them go from a bunch of kids to a group of musicians with a strong work ethic. He was one of the first people to like really, like put money and everything behind him. Were your parents supportive of you doing comedy?
Yeah. Nothing was ever in my way besides money.
Really?
Yeah, my parents were like, my parents were like, do comedy, do whatever you want to do. That's how I was raised. Don't ever do something you don't want to do. And
really?
Yeah, totally. I mean, they're like poor carpenters, poor contractors, but they love doing it. There was no like, it was like, the one rule was like, we don't want you to go to college in Ithaca because we want you to go. But yeah, anything I did. I mean, if I came home high on Molly and I was like, Mom, I'm too fucked up, she'd be like, all right, it's all right. I mean, I could do whatever I wanted, and there was no consequence. And it wasn't applauded. It was more like, just stay away from us and do your thing.
Yeah.
But all of the jobs that I've been like, I want to do this, they've been like, yeah, good. All my parents are very just like, there's no like, you need to work in order to,
Wait, how many parents do you have? You said all of my parents. So.
I have my mom, my dad, who's dead.
Okay.
And then my stepmom, Michelle, her partner, Donna. It's 4.
It's 4?
Yeah.
Dead Dad Club.
Dead Dad Club.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah. My dad ripped. I mean, my dad was like, you need to make money because you have to pay for school and do things, but like, you don't.
Hey, chill out.
What is it?
Somebody back the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that was the exact opposite of that. Like, my mom was the supportive one. My dad, like, I'm not saying he wasn't supportive. I always say this. If there was anybody that would be happy for my success now, it would be him.
Yeah.
But while I was trying to do everything and like needed help, it was like he would have been like, he would just let me fail. It was my mom that was like secretly like funneling me money or bailing me out of whatever. But yeah, it's always like I see people whose parents are like, especially their dad, supportive, and it's like when I read that, I was like, I wish my dad would have gotten me a bookmobile van to fucking drive to shows with.
Yeah, my dad was not. He was supportive in the sense that he was like, you need to make money. I will give you a job. You will do construction with me. You need a car. I'm going to give you my beat down old car that you have to like fix up, and you can take that. But there was no like handouts or anything. It just was like, if I was like, hey, I want to, move to Buffalo and start comedy, it was like, yeah, great, and it was like, there wasn't any like, it was just, it was very much like, raise yourself and whatever happens is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, stay out of the fucking house.
So let's actually, I think that leads into burnout, because when you were talking about the album and like how this is like affecting you, and I was reading this, it's almost just like exactly what you're saying, because burnout is basically them, instead of choosing like to go into an actual job and a profession, like they would rather just accept, the uncertainty about their future and be like, I'm not going to get a real job. Fuck all that shit. Just basically stop giving a fuck.
Yeah.
It's just like, it felt like a declaration for the band and the rest of the album, especially when you were talking about these guys wrote this song, this album in like their early 20s. Not only is it a great song to open the record with, but I also I think it's like a mission statement. So when did you realize, stop giving a fuck? When did you have that moment where you're like, I'm not going to be a carpenter, I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to get into comedy?
I always wanted to be a carpenter. And
you wanted to be a carpenter?
Yeah.
Why? Just because like your family was doing it and you were like around kind of fixing stuff as like a kid?
I've just wanted to be defiant any way that I can. Like, I've wanted to be, because there weren't women carpenters, I wanted to do it. I wanted to be like a philosophy professor because there weren't a lot of women in that. I wanted to be like, I just wanted to be pushing. I wanted to be pushing some sort of envelope in some way. And carpentry, I was like, yeah, this would be, like, I knew I was always going to be doing it to support a dream. Mm-hmm. So when I went to college, after I got out of college, I went to jail and
Jail?
Yeah, I went to jail for some shit. I stole something and I got out.
How long?
It was just like 40 hours or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
But I got out and like the whole thing that had happened was so funny that I was like, everybody had been like, you need to do stand up, you need to be stand up. And I remember getting out of jail and being like, this is so funny for stage. And then I moved to Buffalo. Also, the other thing I've always been doing is like, wherever you go, you just have to make sure you're packed with friends or else you're fucked. Like, I moved to Buffalo. My best friend got paralyzed. So I moved there to just be with her while she was paralyzed.
Yeah.
And I became like a nurse's aide for her so that we could hang out without a fucking nurse in the room. And then I started stand up there, and then I moved here and was like, I need to make money. I got fired at every service job I had.
Same.
Yeah. Because I just was like, this is not right what you're telling me to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then I was like, okay, well, I've been doing carpentry my whole life, so I'll just do that. And then that was carpentry and comedy. And then it was
carpentry during the day, comedy at night.
Yeah.
Did you ever like show up with like
Every
nails like in your pockets and like?
Yeah, it helped me get ahead so much. Walking on stage with full Carhartts, like taking my nail bag off at the open mic and being like, I'm sorry, I gotta get,
you ever like walk in there and go, I can fix that step for the stage right there.
Totally.
Like, let me just.
I would fix every comic's shit in their house. I would fix totally so many open mic places. I'd be like, I got this. But it was like, and I had my truck, and it was like, yeah, totally. And then I eventually was like, I need some sort of backup for comedy. So I went to school for a semester to be a social worker, to eventually be a therapist. And then I was like, I hate this. And then I just did comedy full time.
What made you think that you want to be a therapist?
I love therapizing people. I'm very good at it.
Is that a word?
No. And
therapist.
But the social work shit is all woke. It was like the craziest. It was like there was just it's a white girl thing to choose and be like, I'm gonna save poor black people, and it was like ridiculous, And you're just like, I'm just signing people up for food stamps all day. This sucks.
But is there black people in Ithaca?
No, there's like 4.
Yeah, so you were like, I want to be around them.
I didn't.
Culture.
Not that I didn't, but I wanted rich people to come to me for therapy and pay them so that I could. But I also was cosplaying. I was just setting up a backup because I was worried stand-up wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't have a backup.
You can't.
And I had a manager, and he was like, you can't. I was like addicted to coke. I was going to school, and I was doing comedy, and I lost like 50 pounds. I was like emaciated, and I was just like grinding, and then the pandemic happened, and I was just like, everything came to a halt. And then afterwards I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm just going to do comedy full time. This is crazy. I'm just cosplaying as other things. Yeah. It's like
I always say that. It's like, I wish I would have started earlier, but you're like, no, I'm glad I went to college. I'm glad I had that experience. But it's like, I knew. I knew it. I knew at 7 years old what I wanted to do. You know what I mean?
At college, I learned that I could be funny in front of people.
Yeah.
Like I remember the whole freshman thing and just being like saying insane shit, saying like crazy, dirty stuff in front of like, groups of people at the cafeteria and making them laugh and being like, oh, I actually could do this. So I think college was helpful because in your hometown, you're like, people think I'm funny, but they also know everything about me and they bullied me and I'm not that great. And then you go to college and you have this new identity where you're like, oh, now I can just be like the funny girl. Nobody knows that I was a loser.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then, so then I was like, oh, yeah, it is like a stepping stone, I think, to comedy if you do college. Because it's like you have way more opportunity. The amount of like presentations I did where I was just slipping in bits.
Yeah.
Like, and that was my whole goal. Was to just make people laugh and just failing classes, but having the presentation go really well comedically.
Do you remember? Do you have a bit that you did in a presentation?
No,
do you
it was
remember?
just like, I was in philosophy class, so they'd be like, give a presentation on like, Plato's, Plato's.
The Republic?
The Republic, or like, I remember Plato's symposium on love where he's talking about love. And then I would be like, well, love for me is clearly a man who might be in the classroom next door who's fucking a freshman. You know what I mean? Like I'd be going on a whole thing. And that was like the whole, and then I just was like, after college, my whole life has just been following any dude around that hates me.
Yeah.
And then after college, I just was like, I always was like, whoever I end up with, I'll just be their like counterpart. Like they'll be the star and I will be the support, and I'll be a philosophy professor, or I'll write books, or, I'll be a cute fucking literature person. And then I was like, oh no, I've got this all wrong. Fuck all that. I have to do this. And then, and my parents both wanted to be light. Like they really were always trying to like be like, hello, get in the public eye. So I kind of was just like, nah, I'm not going to try to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Dude, do you want to talk about Chump? Do you want to talk about the third song on the record? This is where we're starting getting into. This is the one with the opening line. I don't know you, but I hate you.
But I don't think that one's about.
It says wrote the song about the boyfriend of a girl he liked, who Billy Joe never met the guy.
It's like a Chad.
Yes.
That one's awesome because that just is like him being like the identity. I have no idea who you are, but whatever identity you have, like, and whatever this whole zeitgeist is about the hot guy, I fucking despise that and will build my personality off of something I don't even know about, which is totally, that's like, I also remember being like a kid and being so fat and being like, I have two options.
Yeah.
I can either be like a fat girl trying to be cute, which is humiliating, or I can say fuck all cute girls. I don't even want that, and that's why I'm fat. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Where I was like,
that's punk rock,
I'm
though.
Punk, I'm goth.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but it was like a good avenue. Like I remember running the mile and being goth, like the mile run.
Wait, and are you in all black and like
all black? And I was walking like yeah, in Doc Martens, and I was walking defiantly. And like the reality was, I couldn't run. Like I was 200 pounds in whatever grade. Like I couldn't run. But I remember everybody being like, "Hell yeah, she's like against this," and me being like, "Fuck yeah." But I was like, "There's no running."
You're the girl in Election when she gets up there. She's like, "This is stupid. This is gay. It's all gay." And the crowd,
yeah,
you're the cool anti-authority person.
Totally, it was all anti-authority, and it was all like I bullied people and got in a lot of trouble for being a bully and a class clown because it was all like if I stopped for a second, somebody was like, "Hey, can we talk about the fact that Jordan's fat and covered in dog hair and her parents are poor?" And I was like, no, but don't even fucking, is it, you know?
Nah, dude.
Dude, we're going to pick on this dork. He's autistic and really struggling. And they'd be like, you know? That was the move. I really figured it out. And then it was like, you know, I mean, that's like the whole basis of, there was no choice. Like there was no, if I grew up like a skinny hot girl and chose punk, like those people, I'm like, that's sick.
Yeah.
Like for you to just be like, have everything handed to you and then you choose punk, that rules. But for me, it was like, I had to be punk or else it was sad. You know what I mean?
For sure, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, completely. That just leads right into Longview. I feel like we have to talk. There's like 4 or 5 songs we have to talk about on this record. Longview is definitely one of
the record starts, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is about being bored, lonely, and feeling like a complete loser. Billy Joe said he was in a creative rut when he wrote this, feeling pathetic and lonely. He wanted this to be like a Turning Japanese type song about masturbation, and he calls it pulling a pud. I still think when you listen to this, it's like the masturbation is just the, you know, is the thing that people take from it just because it's the bite my lip, close my eyes. But I think this is mostly just about, like I said, like feeling pathetic as like when you're a teenager. What's the most pathetic you've ever felt?
The most pathetic I've ever felt, that's a good question. As a teenager, I mean, there have been a couple points. The lowest point I can remember is, I remember it was in college, and I was madly in love with a guy, and I was living up on like the top of a hill in this cabin, and the wood stove was clogged, and I ran off a wood stove, and it would blow smoke into my room. And he was dating this girl he would always take her up to the sauna, which was on my mountain, like where I lived.
Your mountain.
It was my mountain. And I had like, he would go in the sauna with this hot girl, and I would just be in my room and being like, just don't go outside. Just don't go outside. And I could see her in the distance, like hot in a bathing suit, and them having so much fun. And I was so in love with him, and I would watch New Girl all the time. And I couldn't get down the hill often because it was so snowy that I would just like coast my truck down it was just crazy. And I remember sitting in that room and being like, I remember having this thought. I can remember it so well, being like, this is a low point that I'm going to remember. Like, this is like, this is a, and I remember being like, and it's okay. Like, I remember eating peanut butter out of the container and just being like, and running at like 4 a.m. to try and run off all this peanut butter I've eaten.
Sure.
And I remember being like, this is a low point that is important. Like, this is so low that it's going to be important. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna
eating peanut butter.
Just eating peanut butter, the wood stove blowing all over me, waking up and like, ugh,
the fattiest of all butters is
my God.
Peanut butter, and you're just huffing that.
Yeah.
Just
Drinking by myself. Like, I exclusively was wearing like cowboy boots and stuff. Like, I just was in this mode of like drunk farmer girl and I would like, I remember I walked into class one time and I looked down and I had 2 different shoes on because I was just fucked up from the day before. Like, I was like, it was just crazy. And like, I would have these parties that were crazy. And I just remember being like, I'm going to watch an entire season of New Girl in a row. And I know that this is bad. And I also know that later I'm going to look back on this and not, like, I was like, please don't be hostile to yourself now as you're going through this, because later you're going to look back on this and be like, poor girl. I remember having that thought.
yeah.
But I think the lowest was probably at like 13, like, you know, just going to my dad's house for the allotted time that you have to go and just fucking bringing a bowl of cereal and milk up into the room, watching Nickelodeon for hours and just eating cereal bowl after cereal bowl, you know what I mean? Not going outside, just waiting for the time I could go back to my mom's house, you know? But yeah, there's been a lot of
pathetic
lowest of lows.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Dude.
so many.
God damn, the mountain and peanut butter.
The mountain was tough because I lived there like secretly, because that guy that I was in love with, I knew that he would think it was so cool that I was living in the wilderness. So I just was there alone being like, he'll think this is cool. That's why I'm choosing this. Like, I'm choosing it because I think it's cool, but that's not why. I should never have done that. I should have lived with my friends down in the village.
100%.
But I was up on the mountain. So yeah.
Dude.
Those are my lows. My lows are what he's describing, where he's like, I'm totally in love with you and you're the reason I'm bad.
Yeah.
It's always because I'm in love with somebody, they don't want me, and I put myself in a position where I'm like, if I go to this extreme measure, they will love me, and then I'm just like, I'm just here doing a horrible thing to myself because of this person, which I think is like the.
So you just want to be loved.
I don't. I want to be hated, honestly. When people do love me, I run away. And then they do the thing where they wallow. I just am very like, that's how I got a dog from a breakup. I just bought a house from a breakup. I did comedy from a breakup. Like, everything I do is because somebody doesn't love me. That's like how I take steps forward.
Yeah.
So if anybody does love me, I'm like, stagnation, bad. This is not going to work.
Yeah. Oh, dude. It's like, I can't agree with that more, where you're like, oh, I want a relationship. I'm lonely. And then the second you have somebody that really likes you and you're like, yeah, but I just kind of want to be alone and just want my own time. And
is forever what we're going to do? That's crazy. Yeah.
Something you might find interesting. The bass line for this song, Longview, Mike wrote it while on an acid trip. So, which I think is probably one of the most, it's definitely, out of this, everything on this record, the bass line from Longview is probably.
Can you do it?
Boo doo 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 boo doo doo.
Really?
Doo 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 woo doo 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 boo doo. That's perfect pitch too. Perfect.
Was that
pitch.
perfect?
I think so. I also had a question where I was going to ask you, when's the most, because this is about masturbation, what's the most you've rubbed one out in one day?
Probably like 3.
That's it?
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
I don't masturbate. I never masturbate. Ever.
You're too busy eating peanut butter.
Too busy. No, masturbation makes me so sad. Bummed out. Oh, I feel awful.
You feel pathetic that you're doing it to yourself, and even though it's just the most natural thing and it's almost like a stress reliever.
Anything with sex bums me out afterwards. Plummet to sadness. Plummet. If I fuck a dude, unless it's a guy I hate coming back and having sex with me, then I get high. But if I'm just like, if I really like somebody and we go back and have sex, I feel so bad. If I go home and masturbate, I feel so bad. It's like it's some sort of like, it's like a sign of bovine behavior to me. Like, it's like, you're so stupid, just like sex, just like a lazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's like everybody does this. You think you're special? Everybody does this. That's what it feels like.
Why can't you just enjoy it?
It's like going to a museum. I'm like, oh, I'm a person at a museum thinking I'm cultured. It's like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, welcome to paradise. Master. All right. Damn, dude. That sucks that you can't enjoy a fucking rub. Like,
Ew.
just get yourself, just get like.
What's my favorite song on this album?
Well, no, don't tell me yet. Don't tell me yet, because that's one of the last questions I ask you. Let's talk about Welcome to Paradise. As you said, this is probably the second song on this record for you, because if it starts with Longview, this is about living in a slum in Oakland where they lived together, Billy Joe and Mike, as they were teenagers. They had a band at the time called Sweet Children. Armstrong said it's about West Oakland living in a warehouse with a lot of people, a bunch of artists, musicians, punks, and whatever, just lived up all and down. Bums, junkies, thugs, gang members, stuff that lived in the area. It was no place to walk around at night, but it's a neat warehouse where you can play basketball and stuff. That's what I think is cool about this, because it's like when I was younger, when I heard this song, I had no idea that, I never really listened to the lyrics. So to know this is basically just being like, I live in the shittiest area in all of West Oakland, and it's our paradise. I don't know. It really makes the song that much better. I fucking love it.
This is Pulling Teeth?
No, this is Welcome to Paradise. Pulling Teeth next.
Oh, Welcome
to Paradise.
Oh, I thought you were saying Pulling Teeth.
Not yet. Pulling Teeth is after this.
Yeah, Welcome to Paradise, because he lives in shit, and I always took this to be because the other one says Paradise in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Longview has Paradise in it, where it's, take me to paradise, and then it goes Welcome to Paradise. I always thought it was like, take me somewhere better, and then he gets out, goes somewhere better, and it's just dog shit like this.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what's the shittiest apartment you lived in? But I think you might have said it when you lived in the cabin. Was there a shittier apartment?
There was so many bad apartments. They were all bad. I mean, there was one apartment where I got kicked out of where I was living in college and had to live with my boyfriend in a tiny, tiny bedroom. So my apartment was just in a bedroom, and because it was not okay for us to live there together. Yeah. So it was like all of my stuff I had to keep on a bottom bunk. Like everything I owned was on a bottom bunk, and it was jail. It was just jail. And we were having so much sex at this time that we would fuck on my period and wipe the blood on the walls.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because we were in like this mode.
Fucking Manson
and it was really
shit,
fucked
dude.
up. And we would go and we found this giant quarry where all of these abandoned quarry where all these giant trucks were broken down, and we would go take all the parts off the truck to try and build shit in the room. So it was a room full of like huge old gears and ball bearings and like grease covered gaskets and like all these wrenches, and then just like a tiny place for my stuff. And you had to like every morning I would like get dressed in the closet because that was the only space, and then you'd like go around all of our tools and shit and then go to class. And it was like, it was crazy that I lived there. It was crazy. And I remember getting so fucked up and having water parties, which is where you'd be so drunk. And we'd be like, water party, we'd have to have a water party, where you'd go to the sink and see how much water you could drink so that we'd feel okay the next day. But we just had this tiny sink, so we'd have these. That was crazy.
I never heard of a water party. But...
Water party. Where you're just totally blacked out, and one of you says water party, and you have to do it, where you have to go chug a bunch of water. And it's like a gift that you're giving to the other person. I kind
of do that now. Like, yeah. I know that I have to drink 2 gallons of water a day for my voice. So I'll just be like, water party. And I run over to the thing and I drink like 3 of these in a row just to make sure that I get enough.
I still have water parties every night.
Fuck yeah. Why wouldn't you?
You got to.
It's so good for you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Pulling Teeth now.
Pulling Teeth.
Pulling Teeth. It's the tongue-in-cheek look at an abusive relationship.
Oh,
Billy Joel wrote it around an inside joke.
I'm so bad with song names. As soon as you sing it, I know exactly what it is.
I can play it if you need to.
Oh, she comes to check on me. That one.
Yeah. It's about Mike Dern after he sent to the emergency room for injuries resulting from a pillow fight with his girlfriend at the time. Around the time of Kerplunk, they were at a friend's house having a pillow fight when Mike ran around a corner and hit his head on a low ceiling beam. He fell backwards and broke both of his elbows.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This was the one that I said, this is like a perfectly written pop song. If you take this song and you put it in 1965. It just sounds so. It sounds like the Beatles could have done it, or the Hollies, or any one of the big bands from back then. And this is where
That's
I really.
Such a good point. It's very sing-songy.
It's timeless.
Yeah.
But it's also it's like that's why I think Green Day is so. They're so popular because they're just writing pop music. It's just pop music with the fucking punk image on top of it. I wanted to ask you, what was the most embarrassing way you've ever hurt yourself?
You want to know what it is? It was, I will tell you, I was a bartender and at this shitty Italian place. Mm-hmm. And I went swimming one day and I tried to do a handstand underwater, but I wanted to come down like a mermaid. Mm-hmm. Like I wanted to swoop down, and I smashed my face in the bottom of the pool, got 2 black eyes, broke my nose, and I came into work the next day, and for like 2 weeks while I was healing, all of the locals thought that I was getting beat by a man.
Yeah.
Like I remember these old hicks bringing in like coolers full of venison and being like, take this, you can put it on your eye when it's frozen and then eat it. You don't need a man. And me being like, dude, I hit it on a pool, and then be like, oh, a pool. Sure. Yeah. And nobody believed me. And it was like the most humiliating way to hurt yourself, because it wasn't even the handstand. It was that I wanted to do this like graceful swan thing to come back up. And which was like, I remember just being like, every time I try and do something feminine and beautiful, I become retarded. I'm a stupid person.
Yeah. I was trying to think of my probably like stupidest injury I've ever gotten. It was not too long ago. We had to do a podcast or something happened, and I just forgot that I had a podcast taping.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like go get lunch or walk the dog, and I was so mad that I slammed my hand down on my table. My office table, and like I have this little attachment that comes out that I plug stuff into this, and my finger hit that, and I ripped my finger open, and I had to go get stitches. But I was happy because I had to not cancel the pod, but I had to move it, which is ideally what I wanted.
That is what you wanted.
So, but it was like,
man, have I been in the place where I'm like, I don't want to do this podcast, and throwing shit.
Oh my God, dude.
It's crazy.
And the funny thing is, it's like,
especially for the same reason. I want to take my dog out. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Why did I do back-to-back bullshit?
Yeah,
Even when you asked me to do this, we were going to do one after, and I was like, dude.
Don't overload. I'll come back and do that too.
It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. It's honestly like, there's only so much you can sit and talk. We do this whole week. I've got this one. I've got Greg Fitzsimmons tomorrow, and then I got Kenny Wade Shepherd on Wednesday. Even that's a lot for me.
It's crazy.
To do like 3 of them. When I was prepping for the jelly roll shit, I mean, I was gone, 8, 9. I do like 12 episodes, and we had to record that all within like 2 months, if that, on top of the regular ones that we had to do. And it was just, you're just like, it's like when you do like 9 sets in a night, or 4, let's realize 4 sets. Yeah. And you're like, did I tell this joke already? Or
it's so awful. Yeah. And you dissociate completely.
Yeah, dude.
It's crazy. Yeah. You have to set the time. I mean, I'm the queen of just stacking shit up and saying yes to everything. And I fucking am so bad at it.
It's only going to get worse too.
It gets worse.
It's going to get worse for you very soon.
Crazy.
Yeah, dude.
I know. I had my screen background say no. Set so that I would just remember to say no. And I do it with everything. I do it with like, even one of the dumbest ways I've hurt myself is like, this dude dumped me. I go outside, I sit on my motorcycle, I'm about to take off, and I just punch the gas tank so hard, break my finger. And I remember him coming out and being like, what did you do? And I was like, because I was like, and he came out and was like, no, just come inside. And I remember being like, just go away, just drive away. And I was like, okay.
I'm gonna go in.
Yeah.
Hold me. My hand.
I punched my hand from that shit I've broken my hand so many times from after breakups.
One of the worst things I ever did after a breakup, and tattoos have covered it. I wasn't even like dating that girl that long, but I just wanted love so bad, and I just put cigarettes out like I burnt myself because I was like just so sad and like miserable, and it's like, it's nothing. It's like, it's just to look back at that shit now. Like, do you still do that now? Like, do you still take them as hard? Or
if I get, the most recent relationship I've been in has been so crazy.
Well, you told me this has been like ongoing
crazy
and
level of gaslighting that I will punch shit just because after it happens and I loop back and do the shit again. Afterwards, I'm like, oh my God, you're so stupid. And I still will. Now I box to deal with the rage, but yeah, the rage shit gets so. I never do it around anybody, but the amount of hotel walls that have been punched, oh my God. And it's so gay and it hurts so bad. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not yet out of the phase of punching things.
Okay, this is a perfect segue talking about anxiety attacks, losing your mind, going crazy. The next song we got to talk about. I was going to be Basket Case.
Oh.
Do you have the time?
That was my favorite.
To listen. I mean, this is the album. This is the star. This is the star of the show. This is the icing on the cake. This is the song that I think made Green Day. I think with this song and their performance at Woodstock 94 with the mud, eating the mud, throwing the mud at them. I think this main single, because this transcended what I kept saying earlier, was like what I listened to at the time was like Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden. And then here's this pop punk band that we would cover in our band. And this is a fucking great song. Dude, when we did the jam, remember when we did the jam at in Florida? And Mike wanted to do like Welcome to Paradise or When I Come Around. And I was like, and the reaction was good. And then I had the band play this. And it was like night and day. Like this is in my opinion.
This one also rhythmically is good and pop good, but the lyrics are so good. I mean, it has the same thing of like Ironic by Alanis Morissette, where it's like it gives you a million different scenarios that you can like memorize. You know what I mean? Because it's like he walks through going to the therapist, going to the hooker, going to the, you know what I mean? All of these things. And so it has that narrative to it too, which helps. You know what I mean?
What a this is like, I think this is kind of showing you like how great of a storyteller he is. Yeah. You know, which will eventually will then come to light when he does your favorite album, There's American Idiot. You know what I mean?
Didn't he do something with the prostitute where?
I went to a whore to
said my life's a bore.
We can pull the lyrics up.
Did he say something? Did he say?
So funny thing about this, if you want to get it, this is actually drugs played a big part in shaping this song's early direction. He was on crystal meth when he wrote the lyrics.
Who?
Billy Joe.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know he did meth.
I mean, dude, they party, bro. He described the original lyrics as embarrassingly bad, prompting him to discard them and reapproach the song entirely. This decision led to a major breakthrough. Reflecting on his own struggles with panic attacks, Armstrong channeled those experiences into the lyrics, transforming Basket Cases into a powerful anthem about mental health. I have panic attacks since I was a kid, and writing about it and coping with it, expressing feeling of going crazy, ultimately pulling through is a way, you know, that's why people connect with the band. It's like we're all dealing with this shit. You know, this isn't.
Well, and just the self-loathing and being like, I'm not important and why am I even whining? And everybody is, there's no reason for me to be this devastated about all of this shit and everybody's sick of me. Even a prostitute thinks I'm dumb is so, because you pull yourself out of, half their album is him being like, this sucks, life sucks, she sucks. Yeah. And then it gets to this part where he's like, I suck, which is always how it goes.
My question for this one is, have you ever done crystal meth?
Only a couple times.
Yeah, I did 6.
Have you done it?
I've done it 6,
Get the fuck out of
I swear to God.
Really?
Yeah. I've done everything but crack, I think. I did heroin. I did everything, basically.
Oh, my God. Heroin.
Heroin rules.
Really? Oh. Explain it immediately.
I always like to say it was like getting into a warm bath and then taking that bath everywhere you went.
Whoa.
That's why opiates felt so good to me. So Did you inject it? No, I snorted it. Yeah, no, I would never do. That's like, and it was the last week I did painkillers. So May of 2016. That was one of the last hurrahs that I ever did was that. I did that on like a Friday at the DC Improv with Adam Ray. He didn't do it, but he wanted me to get him something for his back because his back hurt. He has back problems. And I got him, the guy that got me the painkillers in DC, way too strong. Adam's like, I don't take this. And I'm like, okay, well, I just fucking had the best sets and just fucking opiates made me, I killed
Really?
I
Well, maybe you just thought you were killing.
Well, you know what it was, and I think you're probably you're right.
You know,
because I can access that shit now. But I think it's just with stand up or anything in life, it's about taking away the fears of like, do they like me? Do I like myself? Like I'm a piece of shit. But like you mask all that. That's why it's a painkiller. It's not killing just like physical pain. It's killing like emotional and years of trauma, and you forget about that. And meth I only did because my buddy, I'm not going to mention his name, but he sold it. And when he didn't have Coke, I would do it. And my dad always said, you know, if you don't try something a couple times to make sure, not drugs, but just, you know, like food. And so I tried meth. I think I did it about 6 times.
Why 6? Multiple times throughout your life?
No, it was all in the span of probably like 2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't done it since 2003.
How is it done?
I snorted it.
And it's like Coke?
It's a little more like, yeah. You're just like, it's like, you ever taken too much Sudafed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. But just like way more intense.
Wow. And not good on stage.
Oh, I would never do crystal meth on stage. I did Coke on stage once. Because remember when I told you I'd go to like Venice and I'd party? There was a show. One of those nights I was partying, there was a show. It's not there anymore, but it was at the Townhouse, which is in Venice. And they used to have a comedy show there. And Comedy Central had this monthly or bi-monthly show there. And I just happened to wander by. And Sarah Mello, the producer of it, was like, hey, Josh, we need a comic. Do you want to go up? And I'm fucking jacked to my tits. And I did probably 15 minutes of material in 6 minutes, and had the best set ever. And then I cried in front of Jesus Trejo, Candace Thompson, and someone else, because I was talking about how nothing happened to me in my career after New Faces.
Oh, classic. So it is a run your mouth drug.
What do you mean?
Oh, that was Coke. That one was Coke. That's a run your mouth drug.
Coke, but opiates, same thing. Opiates, I was so comfortable in loosey goo. Yeah, I was fucking. It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah, I've done Oxy from just having it left over after surgery and loving it.
It's the best.
Yeah,
it's the best. So I'm not going to say take it and go on stage, but
is Klonopin benzos?
No, it's a benzo. Yeah. Klonopin, no, I would never take that and go. Ugh.
No, not go on stage.
Not trying to yuck your yum. I'm not trying to yuck your yum about the drug. All benzos to me are just sleepy. Like Xanax. I never understood why anybody would like Xanax. I take it and I go to sleep.
Do you have panic attacks?
Not so much anymore. Dude, I've got everything. I'm really not gonna say under control, but I started meditating in 2018 and started going to therapy and slowly started chipping away at the freakouts and the thoughts of being okay with who I am, and because that's the only thing that's ever held me back is just what's going on in here. It has nothing to do with my jokes, talent, or anything. It's always what I think of myself and what I think other people think of me.
Yes.
You know?
Mine has been full-on panic attacks because I'm worried I'm going to get lost in the recesses of my own mind and become completely insane. So Klonopins shut that off immediately. And you're just like, who cares? It's
all
cares?
good,
That's great.
man.
Let me lose my mind, dude. I'm ready to go. You just become stupid.
Basket Case ranked 150th greatest song of all time by Rolling Stone magazine in the 2021 list, right behind Elton John's Rocket Man.
Wow.
Yep. Dude, I'm telling you, this is the, this is their song. This is the one I think is when you think of Green Day and what really set them off. I mean, this was huge. You know what I mean? This was really huge.
Yeah. I also think that by the time he did American Idiot, he had leaned into his weird voice entirely. You know what I mean? Like he figured out the in this one he's holding it back a little bit, but American Idiot he goes full, full annoying Joe voice. And I think people were like, "Oh yeah, we like this."
Oh, they want more of it.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah. It's the same shit. Like that's funny you said that. Like with Oasis, it's like Liam is not the best singer, but it's the way he's like fine, and those little things are where you're like, oh, like it's different, it's him, and it sticks out from everybody else. It's just why it's like bands like, you know, Good Charlotte might have had like hits. By the way, Good Charlotte, dude. Do you like them?
I did.
So I dated a girl that her boyfriend before me was the singer.
Really?
Because they're all from Maryland. Yeah, they're from Waldorf.
Which singer?
Benji or Joel, whichever one was the singer in Good Charlotte.
The hot one or the slightly?
They're the same. It's the same.
No, Benji.
They're the same guy, huh?
No, Joel was the hot one and Benji was the slightly less hot one, and I was obsessed with Benji.
Yeah, but they're both like, they're twins.
Yeah, but one was fat, I think. Look it up.
No.
Look up these boys.
I don't want to look at them again or to bring up a bunch of past trauma.
Really?
Probably. I'd think about it.
Why?
I don't know. It's like, when I was younger, I had that thing where it was like, if anybody from my town was all succeeding, I was like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was like, that should be me. Like, I'm the fucking talented one. I'm the rock star. I'm the funny guy. And
I'm from Ithaca. There's nobody successful.
Which is great. You'll be the most popular person from Ithaca.
That's great.
Yeah, you probably already are right at this point.
Me and Carl Sagan.
Wait, is there a school? Fuck, dude.
Ithaca College?
No, god damn it. Kenya. No, it's god damn it. It's like, oh god, I have a t-shirt that I think might be from Ithaca. Doesn't make a difference. Let's get into she. There's our Mike, my number one fan who's going to murder me one day, is mad at me right now because we're not talking about the song.
He can see us?
He's watching.
Is it live?
No, but he's yeah.
Fuck off, Mike. Go
no, he's cool, dude. He writes me these long messages. He's
autistic and he needs
probably
he needs support.
All right, let's do she. The fifth and final single, written by Billy Joel after one of his then girlfriends showed him a feminist poem of the same title. He said that after showing her the song, she dumped him and moved to Ecuador, prompting him to put she on the record. This is one of Billy's favorite songs and one he makes sure is included in every Green Day show. He said, I will play she for the rest of my life. It has aged well with me. Yep. Some thoughts on it? You like she or?
I like she. Yeah, I think it's their sad little somber song. I get why he likes it.
Yeah. Have you ever been figuratively slapped in the face like that? Put your heart into something and have it rejected?
Is that what it is about?
It's about him saying like he loves this girl and then she dumps him and moves to Ecuador. He says, I had a girlfriend named Amanda, this Cal student. I learned about feminism through her. She gave me an education that I think was very timely for me. I was a dumb kid, high school dropout. Yeah, and then, you know, he basically he tells her his feelings and then she breaks up with him. And
yeah, no, totally. This is like the classic, you fall in love with somebody because they teach you something bigger than you ever known, and then they become like the professor of your life, and then they're like, now I'm moving on because you are just a dumb student. And you're like, no, and then you have no recourse because you're like, well, you actually did teach me everything and I have no business being like, you should stay with me because I've learned all this stuff from you. That's happened to me 1,000 times. 1,000 times I fall in love with somebody and I'm like, oh, I love them because they're so intelligent and they're, you know,
love. You fall in love. Really?
Yeah, totally.
You've been in love how many times?
3.
Okay, that's reasonable. I thought you were about to be like,
no, 3 times I've fallen in love with people because I thought they were better than me and they had more to teach me than I could ever teach them. And then they reject me because they're like, I have more to teach you than you could ever teach me. And I'm like, you're right. You know?
Yeah.
Totally. That's like my MO. I will never date. When I date people that are dumber than me, it's just me teaching them and then walking away. But I've been on the other side so many times.
Yeah.
That's the better side to be on.
To be the dumpy.
Yeah.
Have them dump you because because you want somebody that can teach you more than you can teach them. That's what you want, ideally, right?
No, I want somebody. Yes, I want somebody. Like first boyfriend pulled me out of being like a goth cutter and into like being intelligent and like how to like be good at school and like school. the second guy I was in love with taught me how to like not let my OCD dominate my life and have this like I have power and agency.
Yeah.
And then the next one was very like, you know, philosophical, similar with the agency thing, and like you can conquer the world if you try. And then the last one was very much like how to not don't show emotions, be very stoic, you know, be very like be like elite in the sense that like withhold as much affection as you can, and that's like the most elevated way to be. And all of those people I was like, yeah, you're right, 100%, your philosophy is exactly correct. And then they were like, I don't think you quite get it. And then they would leave and I'd be like, oh my god, I'm a stupid idiot, I don't know. Which is very similar to this, where it's like, oh, you're just leaving, but I get it. Which, dude, the I think it's Sassafras on here.
Sassafras Roots, yeah.
That one, that song where he's like, you could just, where you fall in love with somebody, they leave you, and then they realize that they're just spending their life bullshitting like you guys did, but they just don't want you there.
Yeah.
That shit is I think that song is the best song.
Sassafras Roots, yeah.
You could be alone wasting your time. Because that is exactly how it feels like when you're like, why are you breaking up with me if you're just going to do the same thing we did together, but without me in it?
Neither person is enthusiastic about the relationship they're in, but they know they're both wasting time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just look, okay.
I always thought that song was more like, you're just fucking off. Why can't I be here when you fuck off? You know what I mean? Like, why? That's how I always think of it. That's always how I feel in relationships. When somebody breaks up with me, I'm like, I know what you're spending your days doing. It ain't great. Why is it Why is it better to just not have me there? You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the amount of times I literally was madly in love with a person, traveled the States with him, and then just watched as he fell in love with a freshman who was skinnier, hotter, more talented than me, and I was just at the same little college, and I would just like run into them, and just I would literally be at like in the cafeteria like watching them fall in love, and I would have like my pack of like rat friends, and we would all just be like cracking jokes and being like, yeah. I mean, it was such a fucking.
It hurts my heart.
They were getting married. They're getting married.
Are they? Okay, at least that.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
It's like but that's like.
It was so funny. She was so nice to me.
Really?
And she'd be like, hi, it's really nice to meet you. And I'd be like, what fuck is that? And she'd be like, I don't know what words you're saying. And I'd be like, fuck you. It was crazy. I have been the person that sits with a guy that I'm in love with while they tell me about a different girl who doesn't love them. That is my life. Like, I've been like, we dated for 2 years, and now because I'm such a bro, I'm such their bud, they come to me being like, can you tell me why this woman doesn't want to be with me? And I'm like,
and you still love them.
Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm recovering from you, and you've already
moved on, and you're in love with somebody else that doesn't want. Oh my god!
I can play like montages of how many times that's happened, of me like in my truck with them. I remember one time driving as the guy I was in love with was describing this, and he was like, I don't get it, he doesn't like me. And I remember driving and just going like this and reaching over and going, you gotta stop, and just touching his chest and be like, no more. Like my body did it and was just like, enough. And then just like driving to where we needed to go and just being like, I'll see you later. And then just like driving my truck off. I remember that feeling so much.
Oh god. Maybe the first step is get a Corolla. Don't get such a masculine car. Maybe.
I love my trucks.
I bet you love it.
I love my trucks.
You love your truckies.
They're little.
There's no such thing as a little truck.
Yeah. Toyota Tacoma 97.
Oh, I know those. Those rule.
They're the best.
Sassafras Roots. All right, why not come around? This will be the last one we talk about, because you got to talk about the hits, man. Personal song. Lead singer Billy Joel wrote about being away from his girlfriend, Adrienne Nesser, the frustrations they both felt. He was on the road, and this is the woman he married. This is actually really cool. It's like it was right before he was with her before the fame, and they got married in July of '94. I think a few months after this was released, and they've been together ever since. And
wow.
They've endured 2 children. What are your thoughts on, this is off topic, but you see something like that, which I think we both have this romantic side in us that we're like, we feel like we're probably always going to be single. We're going to die alone.
Yeah.
But we look at other people and you're like, oh man, that's so beautiful. Like you see this and you're like, I want that. And then you see a relationship like you just see what happened with Dave Grohl Like, what are your thoughts
What
on that?
happened with Dave Grohl?
You know, Dave Grohl had a baby out of wedlock. So he's married to this woman with, I think, 3 or 4 kids. And then he knocked up some, like, I don't even know who she is, but, and he had to kind of make the announcement because I guess the girl is keeping the baby and, you know.
Are they open, him and his wife?
No.
Oh. What are my feelings on what?
I don't know. Just seeing your feelings on that situation.
On like being a performer and being in relationships and stuff like that.
Just that, or just the situation with, you know, obviously the Dave Grohl situation is probably, it's shitty. You feel bad for his wife 100%. You have to.
I always imagine that when people are in that level of fame that they have some arrangement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when people, I always assume that when people cheat, it's like because they're in a preliminary phase of their relationship where they haven't like established things. But I always give the women the benefit of the doubt where I don't like to think of a woman like I was cheated. Did she leave him?
No.
Yeah. So I'm always like, in my mind, I'm always like, they talked about it. She was like, please use a condom when you bang people out, when you go on the tour and when you do these, whatever, you know? Mm-hmm. And like, if they don't leave, that's usually what I think. Like, I think that fucking Bill Clinton was, I think Hillary was like, I don't give a fuck. You got a blowjob? I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm going to act like I care so that I have dignity, but like, that's always how I think about it.
I mean, that situation was like, God damn, dude.
Crazy.
Hillary, the whole Hillary situation to have to like, you know, because the way that came out and there's fucking like, you know, House committee press conferences about a blowjob. And it's like, I mean, could you imagine just how embarrassing that is? And then on top of that, she ran for president and then lost to like the epitome of somebody that would cheat and do all that shit. Oh my God, just the grace, the little bit of grace that she has is like, it's crazy. Like,
no, being a woman is incredibly gay. It sucks so bad.
It's gay. It is gay.
If you're gay, you're fine. But if you're straight, it's gay. If you're straight, it sucks ass. Because there's no biological imperative in a man to ever stop having sex until they're old.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like, my biology is telling me to find a person, be safe, have a child, keep the home safe, like all of that. And it's like the only shot you have at not getting your heart broken is to be like, you can fuck who you want to fuck. Please be nice to me when you're around me, though. Like, that's the only, unless you marry a simp who's like or you marry somebody who's like, I recognize I have these biological imperatives and I'm going to deal with them every step of the way and keep them in check. But if you just have somebody who's like guys that I meet that are like, don't cheat, never will cheat, don't know how to cheat. I'm like, either you understand how difficult that is or you're a simp or you're just somebody who's like, you know, I'm obsessed with my girlfriend and I would never cheat because then maybe she'd leave me. Because everything in a dude is being like, if you're on the road, if you're on tour, it's like you're being pulled. Dude, I will have a fucktard of a host who is a chubby fucking, you know, fucktard and get DMs from my fans being like, I'll fuck you, I'll fuck you, I'll fuck you. Like, the stage makes women, because of our biological imperative, that it's like, he's on stage, he's alpha, he'll be protector, he will raise a proper child that will be socially accepted. Yeah. Which is all you want, is the child to, like, you know, in our brains. But it is, so when I hear this, I'm like, of course. Yeah. Of course. Not shocking at all. Yeah. She probably is like, please be careful when you fuck people. He wasn't careful one night, got a woman pregnant, and now they have to do this whole song and dance. Yeah. And I completely agree with what you're saying about that. I have never cheated. Wow. I almost did, and then I felt bad. I felt like the thought of what would happen if she found out, but I kept a picture that the girl had sent me. Yeah. And I buried it deep in my old Hotmail account, not even my Gmail that I used. And one night she found it. That's because I fell asleep. I remember we were watching Girl Interrupted. And I fell asleep. She just cooked me dinner, and I was like, "Oh, what a great!" And I fell asleep, and I woke up when she's holding the phone, like, "What the fuck is this?" And then even if I said to her, I was like, "Listen, I was honest. I was like, I was gonna cheat. I did not, though, but I kept the photo." And she, it was. I mean, we stayed together for a few more months after that, but that was like the beginning of the end. Yeah. Yeah, but I really haven't. I've never really. I'm almost positive I haven't. I think I would know. But you've been single a lot. I've only had 2 real girlfriends. Yeah. And so I'd say that's a total of 6 years of dating when I've been dating since 15? Yeah. So, I don't know. You haven't been long-term relationships, no cheating. No, 3 years. I think 3 years is long-term. Yeah,
I didn't cheat on Tessa or Brittany.
That means you've had 2 shots, didn't cheat. A
Yes.
Wife?
No.
Years?
Dude, if I got married, I'm not. If I got married, I'm not fucking cheating. I don't. That's not at least. I don't know, man. If I'm getting married, the girl that I'm with, I'm like, I love you. Like, if I'm gonna give up all of my single privacy, having time alone, going to concerts, going to corn. Like, I want to do that when I'm married. But I want a girl that will go to corn with me.
She'll go to corn. Who are you gonna marry that won't go to corn?
A lot of people.
Won't go to corn. Everybody go to corn.
I'm coming undone.
Yeah, they're going to that.
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's the thing, is that when I decide I'm going to marry a woman, that's my, what do you call it? Your twin flame? Your ride or die, your twin flame, when I finally say this is the one I'm going to marry, because the last thing I want to do is just go, all right, well, I got this girl pregnant, or like, all right, she's good enough. I want it to be like legit.
Yeah, we all want that, and that's why we're going to die alone.
You don't think you're going to find somebody?
No. I'm like ride or die? No way.
Do you think that adds to what makes you so funny?
Well, yeah. No, I don't. The ride or die thing isn't. I don't think it's real. I have it with my friends, my best friends. I have ride or die. I would get pregnant a second with one of my best friends and have them be the father. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But people who are like, it feels like I was built to get the shit kicked out of me by love. Like, I know that sounds incredibly gay, but that is like, I have been like, this is a ride or die foolproof. And then it's like, somebody's like, I fucked your boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, like, it's like, the amount of times that something has happened where it's like, the second I'm like, actually, I can imagine being with it's like, bitch, watch this video. So no, I don't believe it's real, because I believe I'm fundamentally attracted to people who aren't ride or dies.
I do think you're gonna meet somebody. I think what's gonna happen.
Maybe when I do the thing where I've shut my.
I think what's gonna happen is because soon you're gonna reach a level of fame where you're gonna meet guys that like want that are your ride or die, but also because of where you're at in your stature and your status as a comic performer, they're gonna be like, like Jordan.
Yeah, that's what I will never be attracted to.
But no. But they'll have that inside. But then you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not saying they're gonna simp for you, but they'll,
What you're describing.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I'm phrasing it wrong. Like, they're not gonna simp for you, but it's like, hey, I dig what you do, and like I do really cool shit too. And
you think my level of status is going to make it so that stop somebody from cheating?
I just think, listen,
people cheat more. People are more mean to me the more successful I get, because they don't think I can feel. I mean, I've had guys that I'm dating that are like, you can't be upset. You have the life I want. Like it's like it's happened. It's gotten worse.
Do you date comics? You don't have to say names.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, the more success I get, the more dehumanized I become, I think. Because they're like, you're fucking going on stage, screaming shit, being crazy. Like, then you get off stage and you expect to be treated like a nice lady. You know what I mean? Like, people think I'm impenetrable because I go on stage and make trans jokes. And I'm like, no, I'm basically trans, bro. You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's actually always been the case. I've always been very just like, fuck you. And then people like hit me and I'm like, oh no, you know, yeah. But it's like but yeah, I mean, I think what'll actually have to happen is I'll have to do a huge amount of therapy to make it so that I could date somebody who's a ride or die. Because right now, the only people I'm attracted to are people who 100% are like, just so you know, not going to stick around. And I'm like, okay, forever sounds good. Thank you. You know, but like, yeah, I think it's definitely on me. It's not really on other people.
Just, dude, call Alan. Fucking do something.
Alan is trying his ass off, the poor guy.
Oh.
The poor guy. He's like, you have to love he's like, why do you keep going back in these toxic relationships? I'm like, because I don't love myself. He goes, why don't you love yourself? And I'm like, because I keep doing this toxic shit. And he's like, for the love of God. You gotta stop the loop.
Stop the thing, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, just, you can put a period at the end of it. It doesn't have to constantly be ... Put the fucking one period.
It's just addiction. That's all it is. It's just the same. It's just cutting out. It's fucking, you know, it's that feeling of when you're like, I'm not eating sugar, and then you're like, well, that's all that is. It's just like, I could just talk to him for a couple minutes, you know. It's all, which is how I became like a huge fat kid, was me being like, there's a milk left, add more cereal to the milk.
Yeah, but fucking, dude, box it out. Get rid of all that shit.
I'm doing very good.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great. You look great.
Since last night.
You're killing it, dude.
Yeah.
You're killing it. All right, let's get you out of here. Let me see if there's any filler facts that we got to talk about. I'll have you back for sure. I'd love for you to come back and do another record. We've got so much good shit coming up. Let me see. Really wrong. This is what I'll do. To give you the facts about this record. This is the second time we're talking about Green Day. We talked about American Idiot, which came in at 225. On the 2020 re-rank, Dookie fell to 375, which is 182 spots back, and American Idiot dropped 23 spots to 248. So these actually switched.
When was the re-rank?
2020. Like after the summer of social justice, they did a whole.
Oh my god!
They did a whole, new list. Almost everything. It's like this list is like old white people. The new list is like very diverse.
Okay.
But like a lot of records changed on this. This record won a Grammy for Best Alternative Album at the 1995 Grammys. It sold over 20 million copies, making it one of their best-selling albums, and making it the band's best-selling album and one of the best-selling albums of all time. And the band was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Where was that? In 2015, in their first year of eligibility. They sold 90 million records worldwide. Isn't that crazy? Nominated for 20 Grammys, won 5 of them. They're one of the best-selling artists of all time. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. This little punk band from the Bay Area.
3 people in it.
3 people. It's all because of the support of their parents.
Yeah. And Trey Cool being insane on the drums.
Insane. Also, I think Billy Joe being kind of cute, like, Hobbit-like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's something about that. And his fucking chipped tooth. It's just, there's all the little stuff. It just adds to what I think makes Green Day cool.
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite song on this record? Gotta pick one.
Oh. Like if I was going to listen to it over and over again, or which one do I like the best? I mean, I really like FOD.
FOD, why FOD? No, I love that. I love that you picked that out of everything.
Because that's where I'm at in my life right now. Where I just am like, fuck you, get away from me. But I like that one. I think I like it because it feels like the end of the album, and it's like the final, just like the redemption song of like, fuck all of this, fuck this bitch who's terrorizing me,
Yeah.
And it's like a rage, but not self-loathing. And then I like that right after it comes I was all on myself. I like that it's the big pickup before that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that it's like, this is what I always hope for when you do the podcast, is that like you heard it on a different level than I heard it. And it's because it's like it affected you with what you're dealing with right now. That's why that music is so fucking cool. Is you're like, it's like, oh my God, are they in my fucking head?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And that's like, and also the whole album is like going between finding yourself in shitty scenarios over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, there's the basket case where he's like, I suck. There's She, where he's like, she rules. And then I like that one because it's like, I really like the dichotomy of like, fuck off and die, I hate everybody, and that feeling, and then the having to deal with the feeling that comes right after that, where you're like, oh shit, I just told everybody to fuck off and I'm by myself. I think that's sick. I think it's such a good.
Dude, you get it, dude.
It's perfectly manicured, or what do you call curated?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The sequencing on this record, it's almost like they thought about, like, we start with Burnout, that kind of gives us our blanket mission statement, and then we kind of work our way down. We get into the psyche. Love's good, love's shit, love's this. Fuck all of you, but I'm alone.
I love the fuck all of you and now I'm alone, because I love the idea of just the clean slate. What you were saying with the period. Like, you can put a fucking period on things. And then, it sucks and you're lonely, but it's like fuck off and die that's like where I feel the best, is when I'm in that. Like, I've been listening to Faith by George Michael.
Great song.
And that song is so like, is so, I've been listening to it so much because it's so like redemptive. Like people listen to these breakup songs that are like, I miss you, and I'm like, no dude, I have to listen to a song that's like, I'm gonna be okay, and Fuck Off and Die is very much like that, you know.
Yeah. All right, is there anything on this album you skip over? Is like,
yeah, the first 2 songs.
Really?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you said it starts after, what's it called? I actually liked Burnout. I liked Burnout, and I liked Having a Blast. Chump is great. I mean, wait, like we talked about the sequencing, it's funny. It's just when I bought this when I was a kid and it was on either cassette or maybe I got this on CD. I mean, you were starting with Longview. That's what I cared about. But I did on this go round really enjoy the opening tracks. Can you fuck to this record?
I don't fuck to anything.
Just breathing and.
I could fuck to this record. It might be a little, the thing with Green Day is there are some bands that we all have that take you and they put you right back to a position. There's a thing with some bands where, and I don't know if this is just me, I think this happens to everybody. You're listening to a song and it pulls you back to a feeling that you had when you were first listening to it, and then you realize that feeling is always in you. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Where you're like what was I listening to the other day where I was like, oh my God, it was the Magnetic Zeros or something. And I was
Edward Sharp, home, we're going home.
Oh, yeah, but that'll do it, actually.
Dude, you ever seen me and Big J do that?
No.
Dude, we just, I'll send you the video of like, we just make up the lyrics about like herky, durky, pickle sticks.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, this girl looks like a fucking chick. Like we
That's
just,
great.
It's so funny, dude. Yeah.
But that is one of those songs that will do that, where it just pulls you back to a feeling. So yeah, I think this one would pull me back to a feeling. So it depends. It might be too intense.
Yeah.
Like I might be like, oh my God, I remember being a kid with the Billy Joe poster, and I also remember then 9 years later being this kid, and then I remember that I'm still a kid. You know.
Yeah, it's taking you there. I honestly, if as a person that fucks to music, I don't think you can fuck to this. I don't think
Really?
this is I don't think so at all. It's punk. It's like it's not. There's nothing sexy about this record. You know what I mean?
What
This is angsty. This is about. This is It's jagged. It's like it's got sharp edges with what he's saying, and then it's intense, and it's like you can't fuck like that. Like there's no ballads on this. Like She might be the ballad.
Yeah.
There's nothing, and you can't start with Burnout and start
That's a good
fucking with
point.
that. Yeah, this is an unfuckable record. I'm not saying
Trey Cool is almost unfuckable to fuck to.
Sure.
His tempo's.
Yeah, and I mean that's what makes a band great. But at the same time, it's like, dude, I can fuck to weird shit. Like I can fuck to Korn, I can fuck to Deftones, I can fuck to The Cure. I
can fuck to Metallica. Surprisingly, the Black
Landmine has taken my sight.
Yeah.
Taken my
Ozzy. I can fuck to.
No more tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that.
I would love to do an Ozzy album. Are there any Ozzy albums?
There will be.
Hell yeah.
There will be. You might have to fight Jim Norton over it. He's done both Black Sabbaths.
Wow.
Yeah, this is cool, man. This is like I'm so happy. I'm just happy that you came in for this one, man. Because I've been wanting to talk to you for a while about this shit. All right, final thing to ask: what would be your elevator pitch to get somebody to listen to this record? Of all the stuff we've said about this album, how could you sum up all of that in like 2 sentences about what this record is?
What would I say? I would say what would I say? Oh yeah. I mean, I would be like, if you want to experience what it feels like to be like completely down and out monetarily and with love, and then at the end feel okay about it, listen to this. Like with American Idiot, I'd be like, if you're like, fuck the man, listen to that. You know what I mean? But with this one, it's like, if you're trying to get to that place of like, I'm shit and the world's shit too.
Yeah.
And then, fuck all of that, I'm okay, I would say this one.
Would you say, that's perfect. Would you say that if you were, because I know there's a lot of people that probably haven't listened, this might be their first Green Day record they listen to. We still have people that don't really know them and they're digging it for the first time. Would you say the next record to listen to would be American Idiot? Or do you think you need to ease well, no. So if we're listening to Dookie now. If this is our first record, do you think the next one, or just listen to the next one after that, or go back and listen to Kerplunk if you've even listened to that?
Yeah, I would do Dookie, and then I would do
Dookie.
Dookie. I would do Dookie.
Dookie.
And then, dude, I
also you called her Alanis. You called her Alanis. I
always say Alanis.
Who the fuck's Alanis?
I always say Alanis.
Get your Billy Joel.
Please,
Billy Joel.
Listen to the album Dookie by Billy Joel. Okay, he plays a beautiful piano. I would say Dookie, and then I would say go back as far as you can handle it, and then before you get to America, I would do everything the opposite of what I did, which was American everything else.
Yeah,
Unless I was a kid, and then I would say American Idiot.
That's
if you're
the way
13, American Idiot.
That's the way I'm listening to Bob Dylan, and it's not good. I'm listening to all of his later shit, and not the shit that made him a genius. I'm listening to all and it's like I don't like it, and
you have to get into it, and then you have to go deep. So you have to do Dookie, and then if you like it, then you can go deep. If you don't really like it, then do American Idiot, and then retry.
You have to listen to American Idiot. You have to listen to. I think if you're gonna say this is the band what broke them, you have to listen to what the band that's solidified them of why they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because this album alone would not have put them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. American Idiot is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece, and they'll never do anything better. I don't want to say they'll never do anything better. They don't have to. They did it. That's their Killing Me Softly. Do you know what I mean? They don't need a better special. They've already got that. That's their Bring the Pain, whatever. Promote away. Anything you want to promote?
punchup.live/Jordan Jensen. Listen to R.I.P. Jordan Jensen.
Which I'm going to do soon.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about death.
It's sick.
I'm so excited to go to Corn with you tonight. This is going to roll.
I'm so stoked. They play at 9.
9.
Okay, cool.
Try to get there earlier.
Okay. I'll do it.
Hell yeah. I was going to do it
Nice.
All right, we're done. Thank you. Dude, that ruled.